Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Our Stoney Acres. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a follow-up video on the compost sack. So I promised you guys that I would do a follow-up video. This is the compost sack. I started a pile in this sack about 8 weeks ago, and we're going to kind of look at the results and see how things are going. So this is a sponsored video, sponsored by Smart Pots, who are the makers of the compost sack. And thank you to them for being a part of this and sponsoring this video today. So let's kind of do a follow-up and see what you guys think. Before we get started though, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that notification bell so you get notice every time I release new videos. Also, make sure you go follow us over on Instagram. We're really having a lot of fun over there with a lot of good daily stuff that we're doing there as well. So jump over there and follow us there, okay? All right, and again, thanks again to Smart Pots for sponsoring this video on the compost sack. Okay, so 8 weeks ago, I started with a good pile. I will admit, I was surprised at how big the compost sack is. I thought I had a pile of material that was big enough to fill this, and we ended up not quite filling it. If you go back and look at the video, and by the way, the first video, I'll link it up above. If you go back and look at that video, we ended up being about this full. So it was a little bit short, and I think that may have hurt me a little bit on the cooking, just because there wasn't quite as much material as I was hoping to get. But overall, it went really well. The other thing I have to admit to you is I kind of ignored this pile for quite a bit of the time. When I first got started on it, I came out and I measured the temperature, and for the first 3 weeks, I was able to keep the temperature up to about 130 degrees. I was able to maintain it. Would drop down to about 100. I'd turn the pile, it'd come back up again. And so it cooked really well for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Then I went on vacation and I kind of ignored it after that. And so it didn't get as much tender loving care as maybe it could have. Normally I would want to maybe turn up a hot compost pile like this about once every week. So over this 8 weeks, I probably should have turned this pile 8 times. And I only ended up, I think, turning it 3 times. So didn't get quite as much attention maybe as it could have. And so the end results are that, you know, so there's a little, it could have done a little bit more cooking. But overall, I mean, look, we were all the way up to here, and now we're down to here. It composted down really well. The materials that I used, for those of you that are watching this first, I used mostly leaves and grass clippings for this. So there was a little bit of leftover pea straw, I guess you would call it. So the vines and stuff from our peas for the last year. And a little bit of kitchen scraps, you know, cuttings, tomatoes, you know, things like that went in here as well. But for the most part, it was leaves, which I shredded with my lawnmower, and then grass clippings is the bulk of what went in here. People asked me in the last video, I didn't really talk about what the difference between greens and browns are, and what are considered greens and what are considered browns. So really quick, let me give you a quick 30-second tutorial on that. So greens would be things like grass clippings, fresh garden waste, coffee grounds, kitchen scraps, all of that kind of stuff would be considered greens. Those are the high nitrogen things. The browns are the carbons, and that would be things like sawdust or leaves or dried plant material, cardboard, shredded paper, things like that would be the browns. So again, browns were the leaves. Greens, for the most part, were grass clippings in this pile. And we did about a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 browns to 1 green. And that's a good solid, anywhere between 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 is a good solid ratio. One of the biggest questions that I had myself and from people after the video, the first video, was how am I going to turn this pile with the sack? And I'll be honest with you, I was concerned about that too. So it took me one time of kind of a little hit and miss before I figured it out, and it actually turned out to be really easy, and it's not bad to turn a compost pile in this sack at all. So here's the key, is what I did is I turned the sack on its side like this and broke everything up again. Kind of turned it over like this, break it up, loosen everything up. Then I can turn it back like this to its correct orientation, fold things down, And obviously, you know, when you're first starting, it's not I mean, the pile's bigger than this. And then it's pretty easy. Once you've kind of loosened everything up, it's really quite easy to kind of just go through this pile and turn things over. So it turned out to be pretty simple to actually do the turning. The first time, a little more complicated because things hadn't kind of composted down, but as time went on, it was pretty easy to actually turn this pile. So that was my biggest concern, and it turned out to not be a concern at all. So that would be kind of the method that I would recommend that you use. So let's take a look at the finished product, and I'll bring the camera over and we'll do a kind of a close-up. And you can see it didn't get as much cooking as I'd hoped. And again, that's mostly from me neglecting it. But it smells really nice. No stale smell to it at all. The only thing that really hasn't broken down is that pea straw. So here's what I'm going to do. This is 8 weeks. Normally a hot compost pile takes anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks. I'm just going to let it sit. So we're just going to leave it over the winter and let it finish its composting process. I've already put all the compost that I need in my beds for this fall, so no reason to rush this. So we'll go ahead and let it continue to compost down. So you can use the compost sack for either a hot pile or a cold pile. And so we started this out as a hot pile, and then I kind of neglected it and it turned into a cold pile. So we'll just let it sit and continue to compost. So again, I'm pretty happy. And to be honest with you, I would use this. If I needed it, I could use it now. It's broken down enough that it's going to do the good that it needs to in my garden. But since I don't really need to put it in, I'm going to go ahead and give it that time over the winter for it to continue to, you know, to compost down and work out. So I'm super, super happy with it. Let me show you one other thing that was nice. Sorry for the hard cut there. I also wanted to show you the cover again so that you could see what the cover was like. The cover turned out to be super handy, especially because I started this pile in September. It was still pretty hot, and so I wanted to kind of keep the moisture in. So the cover just goes over the top and down like that. Works out really well. I just threw a brick on top of it to keep it from blowing away, and it worked out really, really well. Then later, first part of October, we had like 3 days where we ended up getting almost 3 inches of rain, which is almost unheard of in our area. And so I was glad that I had the cover then too, because that would have made this pile just a mucky mess otherwise. So the cover comes in super handy as well. So overall, what do I think of the compost sack? I think that it's a great little product. The cover was super handy. It's plenty big. I wondered whether it was going to be big enough, but boy, I put a lot of material in here. And you can see it's actually more than 3 feet tall and about 3 feet wide, which is kind of the standard, what we want to have. We want to have a pile that's 3 by 3. So it ended up being plenty big. It was easy to use, easier to turn than I expected. I thought it was going to be a real pain in the neck to turn the compost, but it ended up not being that bad at all to turn the compost inside the bag. I was able to keep the temperature up and compost it down really well. So overall, very impressed with this, and this will be something that I'll continue to use. I think that this would be a great product for somebody that was, you know, just kind of a part-time composter, you know, that didn't, you know, if you don't have material all the year long to have compost piles going, this would be a great solution for you, because you can use it, cook your compost, you're done in 3 months, and then you can put it away, and next time you have material, you can put it all in again, and away you go, and you don't have these big compost bins that are taking up some section of your garden. So super, super good little product. Thank you again to Smart Pots for sponsoring this video, giving me a compost sack to use, and give me this chance to take a look at it and see how it worked. I really, really liked it. I thought it was great. I think you guys are going to think it's great. A little hint for you. This is a great Christmas present for a gardener in your life. I think that this would be something great that you could buy. I've included a link down in the description below that you can click on that will take you right out to the Compost Sak website where you can buy these. Great little product. I liked it. So kind of fun. Thanks again for an opportunity for me to do a sponsored post on my little channel. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this and you'll go give the compost sack a try. Okay. All right. that, my friends, is all that I have for you for this week. Everybody make sure that you have a great week. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And while you're at it, go check out the Gardening Academy, which is our private monthly membership service. We do a whole bunch of fun stuff to teach you how to be a better gardener. And we even have a whole mini course on composting that includes the compost sack and some other options as well. So the Gardening Academy is a great place, and right now we are actually doing a 14-day free trial to give you a chance to kick the tires. Now, I will warn you, 75% of the people that try the free trial end up staying permanently. So you're going to like it, basically is what I'm saying. So go try, click the link down below. That will let you sign up for the 14-day free trial. If you like it and want to stay, that's all you have to do. If for some reason you decide to leave, all you need to do is just go cancel your subscription, and you won't be charged a penny for that 14-day trial. Okay? All right. That's all I have. Everybody have a great week. Happy gardening.